Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little stream of consciousness writing. What do I mean when I say stream of consciousness? What is consciousness?
Your inside thoughts, right? Voice.
Close.
Yes.
That's conscience. What's consciousness?
Aware.
Aware. Awake, right? Aware, awake, thinking. Good. Okay, so sometimes you might hear this referred to as free writing, but we're going to call it a stream of consciousness writing because what I want you to do is think and write down several thoughts. Now in AP, you will be doing timed writing that is 50 minutes timed writing. You're going to do a 2.5 minute writing. We'll do these throughout the year, and they'll get longer and longer as we go, and that way we can build up our stamina for writing, okay? So sometimes I'll give you a topic and sometimes I won't, but today I'm giving you a topic. Now the whole key to this is not to take your pencil off the paper. Yes, you can put a space between words, but what I mean is continue to write, okay? Even if you don't know what to say, I don't know what to say until you finally think of something to say. Back in the 80s, when we had cars, we didn't have fuel injection. And what that meant was, before I could start my car, I'd have to pump the gas twice and then turn the engine on. And that's how I made my car go, right? Now we have fuel injection and we don't have to do that. You guys don't have fuel injection yet. We still got to punch the gas a couple of times. And this is how we do that, okay? So let's get warmed up. Your prompt is this. What are you thankful for in the world? You must keep your writer on your paper the entire 2.5 minutes. Don't stop, no matter what. Ready, go. Good, good, good. All right, shake your hands. Move your fingers. Move your little phalanges. All right, we're going to do 2.5 more minutes. This time our topic is, what global issues worry you? What worries you about the world or the community? Again, you're going to write not. All right, excellent. Which did you find easier to write about?
The second one.
The second one? Why do you think that is? The word for the day we're going to use is catharsis. I want you to think about the word catharsis. If you know what it means, tell me what it means. Catharsis is a way for us to purge things. It's a way for us to get rid of the bad stuff. So if you see people sometimes that run like they like to jog, I obviously am not one of those people. But if I was, I might say that was so cathartic. That run was so cathartic because it helped me get out all of my frustrations with the world, right? It helped me release those things. That's what catharsis is. A lot of people believe it is cathartic to write, so they keep a journal because it's a way for them to spew out the bad things. I have the two boys, and my youngest son used to have a huge problem with being angry. If he did not get his way, he was very upset. And so I would tell him, it's okay to be upset. You have a right to be upset. That's an emotion, and I can't tell you you can't have that emotion. Now, I can tell you you can't have it in public. You have to go to your room and have that emotion. And whatever you got to do to get it out, then that's what you need to do. And when he was little, he would play with bionicles. Y'all know what those are? They're like these little fancy Legos that make little things. But he would sit in his room by himself, and that's how he calmed himself down, was to play with these bionicles. It was cathartic for him. We're going to talk today about the Genius Project. Now, the Genius Project is going to be the project-based learning activity that we do for pre-AP in the 10th grade this year. The Genius Project actually comes from an idea called the Genius Hour, which was invented by the owners of Google. Have you ever heard of Google? Perhaps you've heard of the Google?
No, never.
Maybe. Okay.
Didn't know it existed.
So what they did was, what extra things that we have to do in here. So there's certain things I have to teach you, right? But Google said, let's spend 80% of the week doing the things we have to do, and then we're gonna give you the extra 20% of the week, and I want you to work on what you want to work on. Now notice, they're still working, right? But instead of working on whatever the boss gave them, they're working on something that they want to work on, maybe like a passion project or something. And what Google found out was, their employees were so much more productive during that 80% of the week because they wanted to get their work done that they had to do so that they could get to the work that they wanted to do, right? In order for you to get to that level, you have to find something that you feel passionate about, that you think about, that means something to you, that pulls at your heartstrings in a little way, right? What I want you to use this project for is an opportunity to be curious and to be interested, okay? Be curious about the world around you, be interested in what's going on in the world. So what is the Genius Project? Well, as far as the work part goes, the output, there are certain things that you're going to have to do. For one thing, you're going to have to do a research paper. The research paper will eventually turn into a speech, and that speech is going to turn into a passion project or a community project. So you need to pick something as you get thinking about these different ideas that are going to be coming through your head. You need to pick something that you want to talk about for the next 6 months. I want you to spend this week thinking about your interest. We'll talk about some more about that in a minute. Choose something that you have interest or passion in, and think about how can you research the thing that you have passion or interest in. So maybe you want to be a lawyer or a teacher or a doctor. So maybe if I want to be a lawyer, maybe that makes me think about the criminal justice system. And maybe when I think about the criminal justice system, I think about how petty drug crimes are making our jails and our prisons overcrowded, okay? Or maybe I want to think about how certain socioeconomic classes are in prison more often than. A few years ago, I had a kid pick what I thought was going to be a very interesting topic, and it was. The unfortunate thing is that it wasn't a meaty enough topic that he could find a lot of research on it, and he wanted to say that schools would be better off if they weren't in school so many hours a day. Okay? And that might be a wonderful idea that you could do for some kind of argumentative paper, but it was not a good idea for the Genius Project because there wasn't enough research to even prove that his issue was an issue. So if you can't do that, it's really hard to jump into something that you feel passionate and heartfelt about, something that you might can change or bring awareness to, okay? Your topic choices are going to be due on Monday, and they're first come, first served. The topic, that's a good, thank you. The topics are going to be first come, first served. And what that means is there'll be a method for you to choose your topic. There'll be a list of topics for you to choose from. You can add to that list if you don't see something that you like on there, okay, or something that works for you. But the things that are on the list are things I know you can do and do well. If that makes any sense at all. All right, so now what I wanted to do, and you can use your Brainstorm graphic organizer I gave you. And I want us to think about what you wrote about the big problems in the world. So what are some of the problems in the world that you wrote about?
Can't accept other people's opinions.
Public education.
What? Wait. Okay, how sometimes people can't accept other people's opinions.
Can't accept other people's.
Right, cannot accept other people's opinions. That's good, but it's kind of narrow, okay? Hang on a second. How can we broaden that just a bit to where we have a topic? Acceptance, okay? And we can talk about
public education? The school?
public to a junior high called Dollarway. Dollarway literally had fences that came up like 6 foot high probably, and then they curved this way, and they had barbed wire on the top of the fences. What other place has that kind of thing? Well, could you even imagine that going over for a day in Cabot, Arkansas?
I wouldn't
Why?
do it.
Cause this kind of area is not,
No.
it's not really what you would call a ghetto area. That's what,
Okay,
for lack of a better
that's
word.
social economic. So, when we talk about public education, and we talk about big world things that we wanna make better, how can we make this type of community better through public education? And I challenge that has very little to do, their problems are exactly the opposite in a lot of ways. They have too little content. They do have outdated things. Their testing is unfair, but different than what you were talking about. We're talking about unfair because we're saying, hey, I went to all the classes, I should get the credit. Theirs is unfair because the tests have been made in a way, or there's research that